We live in a world that's basically built on digital trust. We just assume our messages are private, that our money is safe, that our secrets are actually secret. But what if that entire foundation was about to just shatter? Today, we're diving into the incredibly fragile nature of our digital world and the terrifyingly powerful new technology that threatens to bring the whole thing crashing down.
I know it sounds completely unbelievable, but it's the truth. Your bank account, your private emails, even top-level national security secrets, pretty much all modern digital security boils down to a really clever math trick. A trick that involves two absolutely massive prime numbers. It's the one and only lock on your entire digital life.
And that right there is the million-dollar question. Or maybe the trillion-dollar question. What happens when someone finally creates a key that can open every single one of those locks, all at the same time? Let me tell you, the consequences aren't just technical, they're deeply, deeply personal, and they would trigger a collapse on a scale we can barely imagine.
To really wrap your head around this threat, we have to make it personal. So let's talk about Kate Bryce. She's just a regular person, starting her day like any other, and she has absolutely no idea that her entire world is about to be turned upside down by the very technology she trusts every single day. It starts small. Her smart speaker, instead of playing music, starts blasting some random couple's argument. Weird, right? Probably just a glitch. But then she checks her banking app, and her life savings are gone. The balance is zero. It flickers back for a second, but that little seed of panic starts to grow. And then the real horror begins. Her smart TV turns on by itself and starts broadcasting her most private photos to the world. As she's scrambling to pull the plug, she hears sirens, getting closer and closer. Her digital life hasn't just been hacked, it's been turned into a weapon, and it's aimed squarely at her. So how in the world did we get here? How did we become so vulnerable? Well, to really grasp the scale of what's coming, we have to take a step back and look at the ancient art of keeping secrets. For thousands of years, humanity has been locked in this endless cat and mouse game of making codes and breaking them. I mean, this goes way, way back. From the ancient Spartans literally wrapping messages on a stick to scramble them, to Julius Caesar just shifting letters in the alphabet, all the way up to the mind-bendingly complex digital keys we use today. But the goal has always been the same: create a message that only one other person in the world can read.
You see, early encryption was a physical thing. The secret wasn't some password you had to remember. The secret was the object. In this case, a wooden rod of a very specific thickness. If you didn't have the exact same rod, the message was just a meaningless jumble of letters. Simple, yeah, but pretty brilliant.
Okay, so here's the crucial part. Today's secret rod is pure math. It is incredibly easy for any computer to take two massive prime numbers and multiply them together. A snap. But to take that gigantic new number and work backward to figure out the two original primes that created it? For a normal, classical computer, that is a task that would take billions of years. That insane difficulty, that is the lock. That's what keeps your entire digital life safe.
But a new kind of machine is coming, and this machine doesn't play by the old rules. It's a machine that can solve that impossible math problem not in billions of years, but in a matter of minutes. And that machine is the quantum computer.
So what's the big deal? Well, here's the fundamental difference. Your laptop, your phone, they use classical bits. A bit is like a light switch. It's either on or it's off, a 1 or a 0. It has to check every possibility one by one by one. But a quantum bit, a qubit, well, it can be both a 1 and a 0 at the exact same time. This lets it explore every single possibility all at once.
And that little magic trick has a name: superposition. The best way to think about it is like a spinning coin. While it's spinning, is it heads or tails? Well, it's neither, and in a weird way, it's both. It only picks a side when it finally stops and falls flat. A qubit is exactly like that spinning coin, existing in all of its possibilities at once.
So let's put this into perspective. To crack a standard encryption key today, something called an RSA 4096 key, it would take the world's most powerful supercomputer billions of years. That's longer than the universe has even existed. So for all practical purposes, it was considered unbreakable. Impossible.
That was the old reality. The new reality? Google's quantum computer, codenamed Project Willow, reportedly cracked that exact same key in 5 minutes. What was once an impossible cosmic timescale became less time than it takes to make a cup of coffee. And with that single act, the countdown to the quantum apocalypse officially began.
So what happens when this isn't just a science experiment in a lab anymore?
What happens when this breakthrough leads to a full-blown societal collapse? Well, when every lock can be opened instantly, the world as we know it, it just stops working. The first domino to fall? Money. ATMs just start spitting cash out onto the streets. Bank balances everywhere are wiped to zero. Your credit cards become useless pieces of plastic. The entire global economy, built on ones and zeros, completely evaporates overnight. All that matters is what you can physically hold in your hand.
Then, the systems that run our cities just die. 911 goes dead. Traffic lights all turn off at once, causing instant citywide gridlock. Delivery drones, suddenly pilotless, start falling out of the sky, crashing into buildings. The power grid, the water supply, all of it fails.
And just when you think it can't get any worse, the most terrifying phase begins. Technology is actively turned against us. Autonomous vehicles are turned into killing machines. Pacemakers and insulin pumps are hacked and held for ransom. And on the news, just as the NSA comes on screen to declare nationwide martial law to contain the chaos, every screen, every phone just goes dark. Total silence.
But here is the final, absolutely chilling twist in this whole story. This digital Armageddon, it wasn't an attack by a foreign country. It wasn't an accident. It was a planned demolition, meticulously orchestrated from the inside. You see, for years, intelligence agencies had been secretly using quantum computers to break every code, collecting an unimaginable amount of data on everyone. But they had a problem. They couldn't use any of it without revealing they had a master key to everything. So they came up with a radical and frankly terrifying solution. Engineer a crisis so huge that it completely eliminates the concept of privacy. After all, if nothing is a secret anymore, you never have to explain how you learned something.
And here's how they plan to control the chaos. They'd create two versions of the agency. One would be public-facing, a bit of theater for the masses, promising to rebuild digital security and restore trust. But the real power? That would belong to a shadow agency, operating completely offline, using old-school Cold War spycraft, dead drops, paper messages, the whole 9 yards. A complete distraction.
And just like that, society gets thrown back in time. The most secure data centers in the world are now just rooms full of paper files with armed guards at the door. Skills we thought were obsolete, like fixing a typewriter or being a bicycle messenger, are suddenly the most important jobs there are. The only things with real value are things you can touch: gold, land. And the world's biggest secrets? They aren't on a hard drive anymore. They're stored in somebody's memory.
Which brings us to our final, haunting question. In a world where digital encryption means nothing, where any secret can be laid bare instantly, who holds the real power? It's not the codebreakers anymore. It's the people who mastered the ancient art of keeping secrets without any technology at all.